I get up early and go down to the pier a couple times a week. I feel like my heart and mind are the most alert early in the morning, and all the normal chaos of life hasn't quite started yet. And so it allows me to just simply spend time with my God. I started really following my heart's calling at Calvary Chapel, Santa Barbara when I came alive in Christ. I was the janitor, worked for the church for about 6.5 years, and then they sent me to Vail, Colorado, of all places, to start a church. After 20 years of God doing great things in Vail, Colorado, He moved me back right here to my hometown and allows me now to be the senior pastor at Calvary Chapel, Santa Barbara. My hope for this morning show is that we'll be able to reach folks right in their home in the time of great need. And so I love the idea of us bringing some life and some love and some hope right into living rooms and homes in our city. Thanks for joining us this morning. Today we're talking about love, love, love. You know what was so cool about that? That's our mission statement as a church. We know with all of our heart what we want to do is we want to love God first and foremost above all things. We want to love one another well, thinking of each other, giving preference to one another, and then we want to love on mission. Love, love, love. This morning, Pastor Adam is going to share a song with that very tune in it. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Today, Pastor Tommy is going to be talking to us about what it means to be salt and light in this world and how Jesus calls us to be the salt and light in a world desperately in need of His love. And this has become the mission statement of our church, to love God, to love each other, and to love on mission. And so this song is called Love, Love, Love. May we be that salt and light.
Call me to go into the world that I know and to love the way you do. So give me your eyes, oh give me your heart, and give me your words to love. We will love you, Lord, with all of our heart. We'll love each other, our part. We'll love the lost, no matter the cost. We will love, love, love. You call me to go into the world that I know and to love the way you do. So give me your eyes, oh give me your heart, give me your words. Love, we will love you, Lord, with all of our heart. We'll love each other as we do our part. We'll love the lost, no matter the cost. We will love, love, love. I'm gonna be your hands, gonna be your feet, gonna bring the truth to the least of these. I'm gonna be your hands, I'm gonna be your feet, I'm gonna bring the truth to the least of these. I'm gonna be your hands, I'm gonna be your feet, I'm gonna bring the truth to the least of these. We will love you, Lord, with all of our heart. We'll love each other, our part. We'll love the lost, no matter the cost. We will love, love, love. And we will love you, Lord, with all of our heart. We'll love each other as we do our part. We'll love the lost, no matter the cost. We will love, love, love. Oh, love, 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 we love.
So as we've set our heart before God and considered just the passion it takes to love God, love one another, and to love on mission. We're going to look in a portion of Scripture where Jesus is really communicating these truths to his disciples. It's a very short window of time that Jesus was having as what we call the earthly ministry, or his Galilean ministry, in which he came into that moment there in the Jordan, was baptized by John the Baptist, and then began to move across the countryside, sharing about this kingdom of heaven. It was only 3 years until then he was put upon the cross for the sins of the world. And in this short period of time, Jesus would take those who were following, those who were being healed, those who were hearing and coming from a long distance away, this multitude that was gathering around him, and he would proclaim to them the reality of the kingdom of heaven. Really, the challenge for those who were listening was that they were getting a taste of heavenly life right here and what it looked like. Along with that was some instructions on that, how to live, how to love, how to care for one another, and to care for the lost and those that are around. He was laying down this wonderful principle of being a kingdom citizen. And so in Matthew's gospel, we have the beginning of the what's called the Sermon on the Mount, starting with Beatitudes and Jesus then beginning to share these truths with his disciples. And I'm going to take us to a little spot here in verse 13, 14, and 15. Matthew chapter 5, verse 13, and we're going to read just that first. You are the salt of the earth, but if the salt loses its flavor, how shall it be seasoned? It's then good for nothing but to be thrown out and trampled underfoot by men. Now think about this just for a moment. You're just grasping the reality that the things that Jesus is speaking about don't really exist here in earth. There's tastes of love and tastes of goodwill and compassion and things like that that are happening amongst mankind. But Jesus is speaking of this love that's transforming. It's different. It's kingdom type of love. And here, Jesus likens it to salt. Now, salt in that day was a key ingredient. In fact, it was very precious. Many people actually received their wages with salt. So it was considered a precious, valued commodity. That's literally where the Romans would say that he's worth his salt. Maybe you've heard that statement before. And so salt was like a commodity or money. It was valued and very precious. So here Jesus is saying to them, you are the precious ones in the world. You're going to be a rare, precious commodity. You're worth your salt. See, for those who would understand what Jesus would do for them, who would endure and watch him be crucified and risen from the dead and would put their trust in him, they are a rare and beautiful commodity in the world, precious in God's sight, meant to be that way in the world. It's the idea that if the world were to look into a field and see some rocks and some rubble and little pebbles here and there, and then right there in the field was a rare jewel that was just sparkling in the sunlight. Wait a minute, that one sticks out. That one seems more precious than the rest. That Jesus was saying that's what it's like to be a citizen of heaven, to be a child of God. It's really what we're to be in the midst of the world is set apart, different, not better. Not acting like, well, I'm the jewel in the field. You know, that first off, that jewel stinks. It just really does. It drawing attention to itself. It's just the one that silently, brightly lights up its environment. That's the salt that Jesus is talking about, precious and valuable. Salt was also a preservative. The reality about salt was it was used in so many different ways, but when it came to meat, if the meat was not instantly roasted, right, it would be packed with salt. The salt itself would kill bacteria upon the surface of that which it was being wrapped upon. And so it was wrapped in tons of salt and just packed upon it and stored in that manner because it would preserve the meat. And Jesus said, listen, you're to be salt in the world, valuable and precious. You're to be a preservative in the world. Now think about that. Our role as followers of God are that we're to preserve goodness, keep things from being corroded and corrupted. It's really a tragedy when you see folks who would maybe say Jesus is their king and love them, but grabbing hold of mass amounts of corruption from the world. letting the world's ideology and ideas creep into their heart and their mind and their thinking and then on their voice and in their mouth. It's not what Jesus was intending. He was intending that we'd be valuable, precious commodity, that we would be literally those that are preserving a sense of right living and loving. Now, remember, it's very easy for people to start thinking somehow that makes me better than everyone else, and that's just not the case. See, when you understand what Jesus did for you, you understand that Jesus died to pay the price for your sin. And I don't know how you get away from that, because it should humble us all our days. And understanding that the only reason I'm a Christian is because God chose to redeem me. And he did it not because I was good enough. He did it because he loves me. And he sets me in this world now to be valuable for the kingdom, to be a preservative of the things that are good. I wonder what that area in our life may be. And it's a great way to inspect our own life and say, wait a minute, am I preserving good things in my relationship, in my family, in my home, with my friends? Am I guarding good values and good morals? Or am I letting the world just corrode them and destroy or be like a parasite coming in and tearing down and influencing the life of those around me? The third way that salt is used, which, by the way, is the one that is most tasty, is to bring flavor to food. Salt is vital. If you watch any bit of Food Network and you watch these chefs and the way they throw the salt on, salt is a key part of just about everything going on. Now, I understand, some people can't eat salt, right? It's not good for them. But for the most part, the flavor of salt actually enhances the food that's being served. It's not that it draws attention to itself, it enhances that which it goes on. Nothing is worse than being too salty, except for one thing. One too salty thing that my mom used to make when I was a kid. So she would take a platter, a big cookie sheet, and she would put Frito-Lay Fritos all over it, corn chips, and she'd turn them so they all were kind of facing with the little folded side up. And then she'd put salted butter all over the top of it, sprinkle a little salt, and put it in the broiler until it started to crisp up on the sides. Oh, I can still remember the salty goodness over the top. For those of you that have restrictions, careful, but it was so good. I can still remember it as a kid. It was something I looked for. Oh, do those salty corn chips I would ask for, and she would make them great. But see, here's what salt is meant to do. Not to be the highlight of it, but to bring out the goodness in that which it's sprinkled on. So think about Jesus' heart in this. He says, guys, I'm leaving you here in this earth. And you get to be my representatives, valued and precious, a preservative of the things of the kingdom of heaven. And then you're to bring alive culture and life and community and hope and families and generations. We're to add a flavor into the midst of one generation after another. Now, what's so beautiful, guys, is we look into the fantastic heritage from the moment of Christ even till this day, and we see one generation after another that have been salty, that have left this residue of love, have preserved the truth in their heart, and are now salty in the world and leaving that for generations. So here's what we're to do. We're to add flavor with the people around us and in the communities that we're in. I wonder what kind of flavor we're leaving. I think it's an okay question to ask. Do I leave a good taste in someone's mouth when I leave, or am I thoughtless and more self-focused when I'm meeting with them? It's just one of those things that God allows us to do, being sons and daughters of His, is to examine our heart and say, God, help me have your heart. Help me bring flavor to that which I'm part of. Do we share this flavor? And is this saltiness of the hope of heaven being shared in how we speak with each other? Do we actually communicate hope? The world is constantly talking about the next disaster, and we've gone through disasters, and so we can easily identify crisis and chaos. But are we seasoning the world with hope? Are we seasoning the world and the circumstances around us with courage? You see, if you've asked Jesus to be your Lord and Savior, then you know heaven is a done deal for you. When this trial and this world is over, we'll be present with the King of Glory. And so that should give us a great courage. We say, wait a minute, I've got this short period to be valuable and tasty and to leave a beautiful and to bring out and enhance the flavor of the world around me. I've got a short time to do it. And so do I show the encouragement. Do we and are we encouragers and bringing encouragement to others that they might taste of the salt, ask where it comes from, and find out the truth of what Jesus did for them? We don't cram it down their throat. That's not the way it should be done. Do we have conviction? Do we have the understanding that our faith does make a difference? To be honest, many with faith in Jesus have hidden away and stopped having courageous hope and having convictions that indeed God has done what he has done. He has done what he said he would do. He's accomplished it for all mankind. So one thing that we can check is our speech. What's coming off of our lips? Is it hope, courage, encouragement, conviction? Colossians chapter 4, verse 5 says this: we're to walk in wisdom towards those who are outside, redeeming the time. Let your speech always be with grace, seasoned with salt, that you may know how you ought to answer each one. Paul says, be a master chef in this. If we're going to be precious and set apart in that and preserving of truth, right, and bringing flavor, he says, when you enter into conversations with maybe people that don't have the hope that you have in your heart, season it with wisdom and season it with grace, so that you might answer in such a manner that is not lording something over or judging where someone is. Remember that all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. And then John 3:16 tells us that God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, here's the key word, that whosoever believes on him will not perish but have everlasting life. See, that's hope. That's life. And so those are, when Paul says on the outside, right, he's talking about those that don't have this hope. How are we doing? How are we doing now? Are we sharing salty? Honestly, this show that we're doing each week, this is about sharing the salt, the light, the hope, the joy that comes in knowing God and trying to season it over the world. Now, you certainly can over-salt something. And when something is over-salted, oh my goodness, it's no good, right? It's like, I'm going to just take it out. We've made that mistake at home where it says 1 teaspoon or 1 pinch of salt and putting 1 cup of salt, and maybe we've done that in cookies before. When you've done it, oh, it's no good. Remember, we're to bring out what's beautiful about what God's doing in the world around us and what's beautiful in the people that God has fashioned, all his people, right? To bring that out and to highlight it and to be a blessing to it, not to overpower it and to somehow transform it. That's God. God is the one that does all redeeming and transforming. And so we have to be careful of the over-salting. Now, we also have to be careful of losing our saltiness. Look what it says there, right? If the salt loses its flavor, and here's what Jesus said to us, it is then good for what? Nothing. But to be thrown out and trampled underfoot by men. So here's what would happen with salt that would lose its saltiness. There were several ways in which it would just be, it would dry out, be left set apart, and it would lose all of its wonderful ingredients. It would be then used to make the paths there all throughout that region. They would throw it on the ground because what it would do is the chloride in it, right, would literally kill all of the weeds and all that stuff that is under the path, and the path would be just trampled on foot by man. Jesus said, listen, if you stop being flavorful and preserving and a blessing, well, then what good are you? It's just like being tossed on the ground and just destroying the weeds so others can just trample upon it. It's a pretty big warning. It's like, hey, church, let's get salty. And, listen, Santa Barbara, we live here. We got some salty dogs out there, right? And working on the ocean every day. We want to be salty, like stand out and be delightful and salty in the midst of this world. Now, verse 14. You are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hidden, nor do they light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a lampstand, and it gives light to all who are in the house. So the first encouragement was this idea of salt, right? Now he says, you are the light of the world. You're to be bright. Listen to this little poem. It says, how far the little candle throws his beam, so shines a good deed in a naughty world. I love that little quote. I don't know who wrote it, but I think it's fantastic. The idea of this penetrating light that goes into the midst of darkness. Now, Many years back when our kids were little, we took a journey when we were living in Colorado down to Glenwood Springs. And there's some caverns there, the Glenwood Springs Caverns. And you can go up there and hike down into these caverns and see all the stalactites and stalagmites and all that stuff. It's really fun if you like being in caves. It's a little creepy. In fact, it gets creepier and creepier because they have this room, and I can't remember the title of it. It was something like the Blackout Room. And once you went down, you went around these corners, another corner, and you went all the way down, and the room, when they turned off their little lights, had absolutely no lumens in it whatsoever. It was really quite a freaky environment to be in the middle of this mountain, have them turn off the lights, and they ask you to be really calm and not to freak out when they turn the lights off because they show you they're going to turn the light back on. But it is so dark, you can't see anything. And then they take this tiny little glow thing, and it just dink, they hit it. And as soon as this tiny little lumen is let free in this dark room, it's like you can see everything. You're just amazed that that little dot of light can do that much in a room that was so full of dark. And Jesus said, listen, I'm going to leave you in the world. I'm going to leave you full of folks that will think of themselves and will seek after their own furtherance in their own pride and arrogance and self-focus, darkness. But you know what? If you'll just light up, you'll be the light of the world. You'll shine. And literally, this is exactly what Jesus did. The scriptures would tell us that a light would shine in the midst of darkness, and that was Jesus himself, the light, right before us, the Word of God becoming flesh, and he lit the world up. Imagine the chaos that took place as Jesus was walking through Galilee. And those that he came upon, he touched and he healed. He spoke like no man. He talked different just because his words were so seasoned with the salt of the kingdom of heaven. Eternity was in his eyes. All of these things, and people were fascinated by it. It was like a light. You know, they were like moths coming to a bug light. They're like, what is going on? Only without a bad ending, right? Moth going towards a bug light can be tough, but they were coming in and from every direction to be near the light. They would follow him without a place to put their head. Why? Because he lit up the world. And he says to his followers, look, you're salt, and you're to be the light of the world. Remember that Jesus would literally leave for us on the day of Pentecost his Holy Spirit that would be power for living. So this power was meant to be something that would generate the very things that God did while he was here, that we, as his followers, would be able to light up the world in the same way. That we would bring things out of darkness. That's what we're to do as light of the world. Share and shed light on the things that are dark. This is hard. You know, the reality is a lot of us have something we don't want to be brought into the light, and so we kind of try to stuff it back in there. But as followers of God, we're to say, wait a minute, Jesus paid for that. He loves you. It's not condemnation, not judgment, not trying to be better than anything. It's just examining our own hearts and saying, wait a minute, shine, and let the light shine first in my own heart. So that those things can be exposed and brought into light. Here's what light does. Light reveals beauty. When you take a gem and you hit it with light, it sheds light all over the room, prisms, and dance upon the walls because light has hit it, right? Light also reveals imperfections. And the reality is sometimes that's what happens when we walk as lights in the world, is we begin to see some of the brokenness in the world, the imperfections. That's meant to allow us to be able to speak into them and to speak with love, and to see people drawn up from it in our own life. Remember that when Jesus came and gave us this power, he gave it for the benefit of the kingdom of heaven. Not just for our benefit, but that all should get to know the truth of the kingdom of heaven, revealing these things as we shine. Remember when Moses spent time with God and he received the law, he came down and his face, he was glowing from having spent time with Jesus. One of the great ways, guys, that we can be salty and full of light is by being near to God, by seeking him, just like you are right now this morning, which is perfect. You're seeking God. And what happens is we spent time worshiping him and looking into his word, well then we light up. We really do. Our countenance changes and we're able to be shining to those that are outside. It also brings light to our path and to the path for others. Proverbs 4, verse 18. But the path of the just is like the shining sun that shines even brighter until the perfect day. So, as lights, we get the opportunity to maybe reveal a path for our kids to walk in, for our family to walk in, friends to walk in, to see where hope is and eternity is. But you see, we have to light it up first. If we know the truth and we're salty and we're full of light, we get to light that path up for other. In Ephesians chapter 5, verse 8, Paul said, "For you once walked in darkness, but now you're the light of the Lord. So walk as children of light. For the fruit of the Spirit is in all goodness, righteousness, and truth, finding out what is the acceptable to the Lord, and to have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather expose them." Paul said, listen, being the light, it allows us to not only light up the path and to be a light for others, but it also means we've got to turn away from those things that have corrupted our walk and maybe brought some shadow into our living. Now, the final encouragement that he gives is this of this city. He says, "For a city on a hill cannot be hidden." In verse 16, he goes on to say, "So let your light then so shine before men that they see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven." Jesus said, listen, you're like this light shining in the midst of darkness. You're like a city. Cities represent this place of safety for those who are traveling. And they went from one spot to another. In fact, the villages that were there all through Galilee were typically about a day's journey away. And so you knew that you'd walk, and when you finally saw the village or saw the lights of the city, you knew, oh, I'm going to be safe. I'm going to be taken care of there. My prayer for you today is that when you look and see the church, you see our church and great churches in our community, that you see a safe place to come, to become salty, to be lit up by the presence of the Spirit of God, to belong to the work, to be a shelter for others. He says that we are to let our light so shine before men that they see our good works and then they look towards God. The goal is that when they look to us and they taste of our life, they taste something salty that reminds them of the kingdom. That they see light that reveals the path to grace and to hope and to love. And that they see by our actions and by our works that we belong to the King of the universe. That we belong to Jesus of Nazareth, who died for us and gave us everlasting life. So today, it's time to check and see if we're salty, if we're full of life, if we're a safe place for those who are needing shelter. And I hope that's the case for each of us. And the good news is we can ask our King, and he'll give us the power to light this world up in a flavorful way. God bless you. Thanks for joining us this morning. Look forward to seeing you next week.
Now more than ever, our culture needs people willing to spread light and love. We need people that are willing to press into the community, love on everybody around them. If you're interested in seeing more from Calvary Chapel Santa Barbara, you can follow us on Instagram at CalvarySB or Calvary Chapel Santa Barbara on Facebook and YouTube. If you want to join us online or in person for one of our Sunday services, you can check out our website,